Well, if you watched my recent video, and it was number 1082, entitled Machinability, Power Drilling, and so on. But during that video, this machine sheared a pin. Now there's a shear pin here on the lead screw, and when that shears, the purpose of a shear pin is to protect a gearbox or another portion of a machine. It might be a outboard motor or something like that. But a lot of these machines were used in schools, so if you did not shear a pin, there was no other provision for protecting the gears, and then the weakest gear is going to strip or be damaged. And that's what I want to talk about in this video. Okay, at the end of this video, I'm going to put a little bonus footage, and it will be when the pin sheared and how I replaced it. About a minute or two long. You don't have to watch that if you don't want to. But again, on the closing lathe, there's a shear pin here. Now watch this as I turn the machine on. You can see it's spinning. And the idea there is that if you hit an obstruction or crash the lathe, that the pin will shear and then protect all of the gears in the gearbox and the gear train here in the end that you can't see. Now originally, and I'm going to show you some pictures from the closing book, these were aluminum pins. But as far as I'm concerned, they just sheared if you took a heavy cut. They were too delicate, so I started replacing them with brass, even though according to the directions that voids the warranty. But this machine is 50 years old. Now there's quite a bit of shear pins sticking out there, as you can see. So I'm going to clip that off. But man, make sure you do, because you don't want a rag to get wrapped up in there, or your apron or something else. So consider that. So it's nice to have your machine protected by a pin or a clutch, and I'm going to talk about the protection on 3 or 4 other machines. So you might enjoy this, and it might help you even. So this is the original parts book from 1973. When I bought this for the high school, and then years later, of course, I bought it from the school and have it here in my home. But here on this page, with the bed, the main frame, and there's the lead screw, and it shows you the little shear pin, even called a shear pin, along with a little retainer so it would not come out, and that there was very little sticking out for safety purposes. And here's the little envelope that contains spares, along with the number and everything. And I think over the years I bought several packs of these, but this package is empty. But inside of it was one of the little retainers. It's almost like a push nut. Again, these were made out of aluminum, and I started replacing them, as I said, with brass so they didn't shear at the drop of a hat. And inside of that little envelope I just showed you were the folded up instructions here on replacing the lead screw shear pin, and they use the same pin for the 10, 12, and 14-inch lathes, and there's detailed instructions in there on how to change it, although it's not rocket science, but you do have to take this end bearing off and pull the lead screw out and remove the broken one. That's the tricky part. You got to get the broken one out of there. The diameter is 3/32. So there's a piece of 3/32 aluminum, and these are filler rods. That's all that is. So this can be cut off the length and use it. Now some aluminum is softer than others, but I started using brazing rod, and it would shear without shearing any of the gears or stripping the gears. And then the final one here is a steel filler rod. Do not use steel. All right, that's enough on the closings. When I arrived at the high school on my first teaching assignment in the fall of 1967, there were 4 11-inch Sheldon lathes in a row. And they really are good lathes. They had the speed control down here. Mine were painted mint green. Eventually I changed this to gray. But anyway, the reason I'm telling you this is that every one of them had stripped gears. in the gearbox. And me being a rookie teacher, that wasn't easy to fix all of those. I will say this, that the school had almost unlimited money for me to buy repair parts of any kind that I needed, but I did have to come in at night and weekends to work on that. But that made me aware of how valuable a shear pin or a clutch or something is to protect the gears. And the damage was always inside this quick change gearbox, not necessarily in the gear train on the end where my pencil is pointing. Well, in 1969, they budgeted for a new lathe. Now, I had fallen in love with Sheldon lathes. They don't make them anymore, but they were really, really good machines. So this is a 13-inch Sheldon, just like I purchased at that time, and it was about $3,500. That'd be like $15,000 now with all the attachments. And of course, that's not me. I'm much better looking. But the reason I'm telling you that about this 13-inch lathe is that it had a system of protection as well, but it was in the end gear train where that man's head is on the feed reverse lever. Let me show you. This is the feed reverse lever and associated gears from a South Bend lathe, but it looks very similar to many other makes as well as that Sheldon. But anyway, that 13-inch Sheldon had a gear, this exact gear here, that was made of fiber. And it was a gear that would strip. And the kids did strip them by crashing the lathe, and I ended up buying 6 or a dozen of these, so I always had one in stock. So that gear was considered sacrificial. And again, they crash it, it's just stripped out, and all of a sudden, Mr. Peterson, how come my feed isn't working on the lathe anymore? And then I had to break out the spare, and I could change them within minutes. All right, let's talk about Atlas-Craftsman lathes, because they are a very popular lathe. There's a lot more of them out there than there are closings, but this particular machine is from the 70s, I think 1972 or so, but it does not have a shear pin. What it has, if you crash the machine, is a clutch right here. See if I can zoom in on that a little bit. And so that clutch will slip during a crash and protect the gearbox. So that's pretty awesome. I'm not totally sure that's ever happened to me. That's perhaps a little bit better view of it. And pay no attention to this hole here. That is not for a pin. It's this clutch, and I think there is a way of adjusting that. Let me see if I can find a picture of that or a description in the original booklet. Let's take a quick look at the clutch in this original book for the 12-inch Craftsman. Remember, the Atlas would be exactly the same. So in the manual, there's very detailed instruction on how to adjust the clutch. And that hole that I told you was not for a shear pin is actually meant to hold a 12-inch rod with a 5-pound weight on it, and then even below it, a rather detailed step-by-step instruction on how to set it. And in the parts booklet, look at all the parts in the clutch assembly. All those little plates, almost like a multi-plate clutch. Well, it is. And I garner a guess that 98% of people that have these Atlas lathes are oblivious to what I'm showing you right now. Okay, this is still the little Atlas 12-inch lathe. So look at how robustly this bearing on the end of the lead screw is. Now this is the tailstock end. There's no way that that's going to break. It's made of brass, and it's just very heavy duty. But if you own an older Atlas lathe from before the 70s, this is what the bearing looks like on the tailstock end. Now, it's made of Zamek, and it looks pretty robust, doesn't it? Well, it's not. Look at how thin it is. And the purpose of that is, this is sacrificial and will break. So during a crash, the force is this way, and this is designed to break away. So I bet they sold 100,000 of these as replacement parts. And this is a brand new one that I had in stock. And detailed instructions as well on adjusting the lead screw alignment and bearing at the tailstock end. Similarly, look at all of the parts on the lead screw tailstock end. There's 2 thrust bearings plus that big brass block and all those other washers and nuts. So they spared no effort or detail on that. Am I telling you too much? Because this little bearing is from the 6-inch Atlas-Craftsman lathe. And look at it. It's not going to break off. It is very, very robust, even though it's Zamak. But that means that a gear is going to strip. Now we're going to step over to that little Atlas lathe right now and take a look at it. Okay, let's take a look at the bearing on the end of the lead screw on the little 6-inch Atlas. And I might point out, since it will not fail and there is no provision whatsoever to protect the gears, one of these gears is going to strip. I guarantee it. If you crash the machine, unless of course you stall the machine, and the belt might slip, you might stall it and it would suffer no damage. So here it is, the right hand bearing near the tailstock, and it's identical of course to this one, and it's, as I said, very robust. I'm sure it would not give way when compared to this Zamak one from the 12-inch machine. Now, some of you might be wondering about Logan lathes, and I no longer own a Logan, but I've had several of them over the years, and there was a case where I stripped a gear in the quick change gearbox on my Logan lathe, and there was a pin here. Now, I do not know what they recommend when they made the machine, but when the pin did not shear, and it was a steel pin, or at least that's what was in there. It was an old machine, of course, and I replaced that pin at that time with a brass pin. So that was my own take on it, my own solution for it, and that never did happen again, but it was caused, of course, by a crash that yours truly did on a Logan lathe. So just take that under advisement. Well, it's a beautiful day in northern Illinois. It's 65 degrees. I'm in my shirt sleeves, and it's just a perfect time to go out to Studio G and talk about South Bend machines. It's 65 degrees in Studio G. Well, I'm so thankful for global warming, and that's why it's so wonderful outside today. But the wind that I mentioned, do you know what the wind means in the middle of February? It means a cold front is blowing in. So this is a one-day only comfort zone. All right, a little sidetrack there. What protects a South Bend lathe? And these were probably the most popular machine in schools nationwide and possibly even the entire world. Well, several things. I don't ever remember stripping a gear, and these are all cast iron and some steel gears, very robust, very, very well built, possibly overbuilt. It's quite a luxury having more than one of these, but you notice here on the lead screw, when the gear is turning, the lead screw is turning, there is no shear pin or clutch there whatsoever. And on the tailstock end, it's a very massive cast iron bearing that would not break. There's just no chance of that giving way. So what happens when the kids, and I mean kids, well, men too, I suppose, when they ram under power the compound into the chuck, which I have taken off, well, first of all, that's what the compound's eventually going to look like. I've seen a million of them, although this one is quite good, which means it's never been in a school. But what will happen when you crash this lathe is very simple. The belt will slip. It's a flat belt, and it's just going to start slipping when you crash it. So that is the protection, at least in my opinion, on the South Bend lathe. Well, that concludes the video. I hope you got something out of it and realize how we go about protecting the gears and the mechanism on a lathe. And nothing is student-proof or foolproof, but the several methods that I have shown you are quite adequate. And I'm talking about small lathes. I don't know about great big lathes like Adam uses. Maybe they just rely on the skill of the machinist, not crashing the machine. I do not know. You put it down in the comments if you have an answer to that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Well, that's no good. I instantly sheared the pin. See how it stopped? Time for some necessary repair. Well, that was an aluminum pin. I think I will replace it with brass. It's a shear pin is what it is. Bernard's. Okay, I made up a brass pin. 3/32 is what it is. Done. Okay, I'm starting over.